Hello, Gemini. Thank you so much, as always, you guys, for being here. And a very safe and happy holidays to all of you. All right, Gemini, so looking at your third week of December, you pulled soulmates, confusion, and triggers. There's two parts to this. On one side, there may be some confusion as to why you experienced something that left you with wounds within a relationship, and that could be any relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic, however that shows up for you. But this is like a soulmate situation where you're dealing with a person who is intentionally brought into your life for you to have a very specific experience. The problem is that experience may have left you with wounds that you may be carrying into a new situation. And I feel like that's the message here. There's like this warning, like, look, you had a bad experience, but that was meant to, show you what you don't want. So that now when you have what you do want coming into your life, right, it can feel different. The problem is the wounding and the confusion created by a past situation that is going to affect something new. That is the clear message that I got from this. So, soulmates. Let's talk about the protection message. So, first of all, it talks about harmonious partnerships, love, friendship, companionship, a relationship fostering personal growth. That is the most important thing coming out of this. The protection message says an important relationship brings you to your knees. This is the kind of soulmate who comes with a powerful gift. Your patterns and all your old stories that don't serve your well-being enter into this dynamic so you can heal them. That's the other part of this. So it's not just about, these are the relationships I don't want to experience anymore. It's also about having that relationship that helps you heal the wounding and the damage. The problem is that you have now acquired these triggers because of the wounding, right? It says this person is called to a sacred task to help you learn, even if it seems uncomfortable, sticky, or even inconceivable. The question is not, why did he or she do this to me, but rather, what is the gift in this? It says, look into this mirror, you will only be changed for the better. But like I said, there's two parts to this. You have something old that is lingering and something new that is coming in that is meant to heal this. But there is still, the confusion over the experience. And then there's the triggers that are caused by that. So the message with confusion is saying to allow it to happen in order for there to be clarity. It's like accepting the fact that you may not understand why certain things have happened. And by doing that, it kind of clears up the situation for you. It says allowing confusion, spiritual support, consequences of actions, finding love. It says every silver lining has a cloud. So, I feel like this is going to be for those of you who are going to be encountering a relationship where it's meant for you to heal. The problem is it's going to be exposing all the triggers from the wounding, right? So triggers, the occurrence of or circumstances in your life may affect you on a deep level and be stored in your memory as wounds or triggers. Your ego can become defensive due to the emotional wounds you carry with you. Once a wrongdoing has happened in your life, it cannot be undone, but you choose how to handle the outcome. It says there is no single situation you cannot overcome. I'm telling you, this is like a warning about how certain things affect you. For some of you, you may be coming out of a situation where there's still a lot of confusion, like I thought this was my soulmate, right? And then there's the questions of why this happened, why did they do this, why did I experience this, whatever it may be. But anything new coming in has, you know, the potential for there to be a much, much better connection. But the triggers, right? Like, I almost feel like walking into the perfect relationship, but it being so good that immediately all of the fears acquired from, you know, past bad situations are brought to the forefront in such a way where it could potentially end something really good, if that makes sense, right? Like I said, there's two sides to this. There is the horrible experience, and then there's this new one that may be coming in. You're overall the Hierophant, so the Hierophant has been making an appearance here recently. There is the grounded spiritual understanding over the difficulties and the changes that you may have experienced. But there is commitment and conformity here too, right? So it's like being confined into like a certain construct. You know, but we'll see how the Hierophant is playing out here though, because, you know, it may be that something is coming through that has the traditional feel to it, or it makes you want to, you know, do things in a traditional way, but we're also talking about something that you end up committing to, right? But spiritual understanding, absolutely. The Hermit in the past. So you may have gone into a period of solitude. And with the Hierophant being the overall, you may have come out of that with, you know, a more grounded spiritual connection. You know, because the Hermit's looking back at, you know, all the things that he's done. And then there's the question of, is this where I saw myself, right? But you may be coming out of a period of solitude or isolation. But we're talking about deep inward reflection. And, you know, for some of you, that period of solitude or isolation may have led you to, you know, a different kind of like spiritual awareness, right? In the present, the Queen of Wands, I love her. I love her because when she shows up, what I'm looking at is, you know, for the person that I'm reading for, like the best sides of themselves coming out and being expressed. There's the confidence, there's, you know, the attractiveness. You know, people looking for your attention and your advice or your counsel, right? But feeling good and looking good and being confident in who you are and what you're capable of. A passion may be renewed because of a person. And there may be this part of you that's coming back out that wants to like engage with that, if that makes sense. So future conditions, the Nine of Pentacles. You know, what I like here is with the Queen of Wands, right? We're not really talking about in terms of like relationships with other people. It's not about, you know, the commitment necessarily. But you have that as an overall. But in the present moment, you may not be looking at that. There may be more of, you know, this commitment to staying like unavailable, or just being like, you know, I don't want to get into a committed relationship. You know, I have other plans, right? But I'm down to have some fun. Because with the Nine of Pentacles and future conditions, we're talking about you being single and happy and independent, right? Financially secure, able to enjoy your life. For some of you, you may be breaking a commitment after having a long period of reflection with the Hermit. But I feel like something is calling you, you know, to come forward, like a part of you to come back out to engage with something. And I say that because you're preceding this with the Hermit, right? But this is good. Like commitment to yourself and your own security. And your own ability to enjoy your life, I think, is more important than staying committed to things that make you question on whether or not this is the path you should have been on, right? Your best path to follow, the Eight of Pentacles, right? Putting in the effort, doing the work, refining a skill here. But attention to detail. This is loving what you do. For some of you, it may be about breaking a commitment as far as work goes, and you kind of like doing your own thing, making your own money, being in control of, you know, how you are bringing things out in order to profit from it. But this is something that clearly you know how to do, and you know how to do well. And, you know, I look at that as far as advice and think, just keep putting in the effort, right? Keep continuing to put in the effort and work on the things that you have a passion for and that you love, right? That is where, you know, there may be a certain way of like doing things, but the way that things were done before put you in a place of like questioning on, you know, is this where I want to be? So you could be making a completely different commitment, but it's still within like a construct, you know what I mean, with the Hierophant. But I like that these two are here because, again, right, the commitment to yourself is more important than committing to situations that make you question on whether or not that's, you know, your goal. Okay. So, and this is what I'm talking about. The King of Pentacles in your environment. You know, what I feel like here is there's two different ways to look at this. First of all, in terms of your own energy. There's a passion being renewed for you in the present moment when it comes to what you put your effort into and how you are benefiting from that in a way that creates security and stability. And we're talking about with the King of Pentacles, the success, right? And continued success and not taking any kind of risks. But because this is in your environment, we may be looking at a person here who is bringing out a part of you, I think, that, you know, wants to be engaged. Like your passion has been triggered in such a way where you want to be engaged in this situation. And absolutely with the King of Pentacles and looking at the Queen of Wands, right, we're talking about a very successful partnership, relationship, whatever it may be. But because of the Nine of Pentacles, I think that there's a part of you that, you know, again, wants to kind of like remain open. Because I'm still looking at you being happy with kind of like being single and doing things on your own. But at the same time, there's, you know, the part of you that would like to be engaged in, you know, this kind of relationship. Now, for some of you, because of the Eight of Pentacles, it may be that, you know, we're really going to have to put in the work here. And then it becomes a question of, is the effort worth it, right? But again, we're talking about success here. But I don't feel like, you know, there is a need to be like attached to anything or anyone. Your hopes and your fears, strength. So, you know, looking at that, immediately there was this feeling of like needing to kind of like maintain your own inner strength to be able to hold yourself back from doing, you know, the things that you may have done before. Like, because of the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like this is you trying to keep yourself independent and not get emotionally attached or financially invested in a relationship or another person. You know, as good as the King of Pentacles looks in your environment, and again, it doesn't matter, right? Like however they identify or you, it doesn't matter. This is just outward energy. This is internalized. Whoever this person is, like, it looks on the surface to be something that could be very beneficial. But I think that there's a part of you that knows that attachment isn't the right thing to do here. And again, I say that because of this. And there has been some kind of like reflection on that anyway with the Hermit. Wow, man. And then coming out the Queen of Pentacles, and immediately with the Nine of Pentacles, right, I'm looking at this and thinking, you are independent. You don't need to be connected to anybody in order to have success, because she is self-reliant. And we're talking about you being independent, you enjoying your life, enjoying the things that you worked for, right? We're putting in some hard work and some effort here, but what is it that you're putting your effort into? And it should be, you know, what you love, you know, your own security and stability without having to depend on a relationship to have that, right? But there's something about this that may, right? Like, I'm going back to your oracle cards and thinking of a relationship that makes you weak in the knees. But I think that you're strong enough to not get into a relationship, first of all, carrying any kind of wounds, which is great, because I feel like, if anything, what may be triggered in a relationship or a partnership or whatever, you know, this connection is, what's triggered is a sense of security. And on the surface, it looks like this King of Pentacles can provide it. But you can find that within yourself. And I think that that's where you're coming to, right? I love it. And I love that those two queens are what is showing up. The Three of Pentacles, okay. So we've tried working on this before. The Six of Cups. So this may be, you know, somebody that you've had a connection with before. Ooh, I don't know why. The devil is making an appearance for everybody, I'm telling you. The Hermit and the Three of Pentacles, we've tried working on this. But you removed yourself from it because it may not be, you know, where you were wanting to go, or, you know, things weren't exactly working out. This is like, we come together and try to figure out how things are going to work, and then, you know, you kind of like fall apart, and then you come back together, and then let's see, and then you fall apart. And the reason why with the Six of Cups is because there's memory there. And, you know, again, it's familiar, but this may be about a negative cycle that you have with someone or with relationships and the way that you handle them, but that's changing. And the negative aspect here is looking for security in people who cannot provide it for you. That's what I want to say. But the Six of Cups, though, there's that emotional memory, and there may be very fond memories that pull you in. And I'm looking back at this Queen of Wands and this Nine of Pentacles and thinking, you know, this is where we're breaking that kind of pattern, because you see it now as a negative thing, especially if you've been going around, you know, with this situation with this person, working on things, and then things not, you know, fully being realized. And then, you know, the memory comes back and all of those feelings, and then we try it again, and then it's no, right? I see you coming out better. Like, you're in a much better position. And the thing is, you know, what I want to say here is, if you want to have a genuine connection with somebody, or if you want to have, you know, that romantic relationship that has that kind of security and stuff, don't completely shut yourself off. Just don't go into it, expecting somebody to be able to provide you with, again, like a sense of security. And I say that because of the pentacles showing up, right? How much effort have you been putting into something that clearly you know very well? The only thing that you should be putting your focus and attention into right now, I think, is yourself. And that could be through doing something completely different in terms of how you're making money. That may kind of like shift the balance, where there isn't this, fear of being involved with another person, especially financially. And that may only be for some of you, but again, the sense of security, finding that within other people, I think may have let you down. But there's also this like repetitive pattern that may be happening with somebody in particular. And it's like, you wanna hope that you can hold yourself back, right? You don't want to show that kind of weakness again. It's interesting that they're showing up as the King of Pentacles, though. So, especially with the Devil, right? There is a sense of security there, but it's negative. Tranquility. That one. Expansion. And then the 5th chakra, the throat chakra. So opening that up and speaking truth, right? But before you can do that, there needs to be an inner tranquility so that you are able to have a more expanded experience. When I see expansion, I think, we're confined, right, into certain situations, groups of people. But, if the growth has stopped within that, there's a need to expand to different areas, right? Getting out of the comfort zone, meeting different people, getting involved with different groups, whatever it is. Because otherwise, there is no continued personal growth, right? But needing to find enough tranquility to be able to accurately speak your truth in such a way where there is this understanding, not just with people around you, but with the universe itself, that you need a more expanded experience. Wow, man. Embracing enthusiasm, shout to the heavens with happiness. And then begin now, take your first step. This is very similar to, I think it might have been Aries. But embracing enthusiasm, we're talking about shifting your energy and therefore shifting your focus. And if you're focused on being happy, it can completely change your experience, right? So, and if you're experiencing something that brings you a lot of happiness, just embrace that feeling. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about, how things are going to work out. It doesn't matter. When you have those moments of happiness, it's so important to feel them fully, because otherwise, when we get in painful situations, we go back and look at that and think, I should have, been more invested into that emotion at that time. But taking your first steps, needing to begin something now. So if you've been putting off anything, now is the time to do that, especially if it's something that's going to give you, that kind of happiness, right? But whatever it is that you're dealing with right now, or whoever I should say, there's a need for you to get away from that, break the pattern, and expand your experience.